Hello, this is John Fletcher, and welcome to the John Rion channel, as Rion means language. So let's communicate. It's time for me to step back up, bring you the facts that lead to the truth, that paint a picture so clear and easy to understand that it is self-explanatory. So the question we have to ask is, why do we only have 19,000 employees at the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Service when we have 80,000 current employees at the IRS, but we're going to add another 87,000 to the IRS, which will make it a total of 167,000 IRS agents, where we are all about letting people come into this country legally through a legal process. If we increase to 19,000 employees at the Citizenship and Immigration Service of the U.S., then what we would be able to do is process more people and take the incentive away from the cartel to bolster their monetary system by way of charging these illegal immigrants to come to America and try to cross our border illegally, and therefore going through all kinds of economic processing that we have to burden and take care of. But if we can increase it legally, because we understand that the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services is 97% funded by the people that apply for citizenship. They have a budget of $4.4 billion, where the IRS just got an $80 billion budget increase. And if we and to understand, that's on the back of the U.S. taxpayers that are going to be paying that IRS budget increase. But the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services is pretty much funded 97%. I'll say that again, and we're going to go look at the facts. 97% is funded by those that fill out the application fees to come to America. So let's take a look at the facts, and I'll leave links so you can fact check this for yourself. We are at the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services own website, as we are going to check the stats of legal immigrations coming to America, the amount of employees that the Citizenship and Immigration Services have, which is 19,000. We'll fact check that. This URL will be put down in the description, and you can fact check this for yourself. Now we have the statistics from 2018, 2020, and 2021. And I also found 2019 statistics just before COVID hit on a global scale. Let us start with 2021, and we'll work our way back to 2018, for we had different administrations in office during these years. This is the annual statistical report of 2021. And to find the stats, you have to scroll down 3 pages. And this is going to make people ask a lot of questions. And the question is, why do they only have 19,000 employees and contractors? They could bring more people to America legally if they increase the employees there. I would say we should have 100,000, because when you look here, the budget is $4.8 billion, 96% supported by fees. So that's 96% of that budget is supported by filing fees of immigrants that want to come to America. People that want to come to America legally pay 95% of that bill. Now remember, this is 2022 under the current administration. 511,000 granted lawful permanent residence into the United States. Okay, that's 511,000. Now, and you can look over all this for yourself, but now I'm going to go back to 2020, where President Trump was president for the majority of that year. So this is the 2020 USCIS Statistical Annual Report. And we're going to scroll down here. And as you can see, this one's over here. We've had still 19,000 employees, 4.8 billion budget, 86% supported by fees, 625,400 new citizens welcomed, 439,000 granted lawful permanent residence. Now we're going to go to 2019. Now, for some reason, they don't have a chart like we had on the previous 2020 and 2021, but here we can read right here. USCIS naturalized 834,000 new citizens, an 11-year high in new oaths of citizenship granted lawful permanent residence to nearly 577,000 individuals in 2019. Now let's look at 2018. So we're at 2018, and we're going to scroll down to this right here. Let me make that a little larger. And still, 19,000 employees, 2018. We had 97% of that budget supported by fees, 757,000 nationalizations. That's a huge amount, and that was under the Trump administration. Now, I say we increase the 19,000, get these people to America legally. That way, it's going to discourage the cartel. So let's take a look at a problem we have in America by giving the cartel ammunition and fuel to throw on the fire, convincing people to make this dangerous journey to America. As we see, that was posted by the New York Post on the front cover, August 22nd, 2022, Land of the Free. Migrants get phones, healthcare, and school supplies in New York City giveaway. Now, this ad, or this front page of the New York Post, will be distributed all throughout South America. People are going to see this and make the decision to make that dangerous journey to the United States of America and cross our borders illegally. Now, those with criminal intent are going to do everything they can do not to get caught, but the majority of this caravan that's going to be surging up because of this article and things President Biden has said, it's going to be a huge caravan. As we're coming up into the fall, as the weather cools down, people are going to be more inclined to make this journey to America. And the people of good intent will just pretty much turn themselves in and then try to get to New York as fast as possible. And Texas and Arizona pretty much going to want to help them get there too until this crisis or this problem is solved. In another video that I put up, I'm going to show you how we could easily solve this crisis. And of course, we all know if we increase the amount of people that process the paperwork to get people to America legally and make it easier for them to do so, they will still have to be vetted, but they will have a more quicker and easier pursuit to America if we have more people working in the area of processing these people. And that's what we need to increase, and not increase a system that targets American taxpayers. I hope you will listen to this debate that Biden and Trump had in regards to immigration policy, and I will point out some facts that we know of as of today's date.
We're going to talk about immigration now, gentlemen, and we're going to talk about families within this context. Mr. President, your administration separated children from their parents at the border, at least 4,000 kids. You've since reversed your zero-tolerance policy, but the United States can't locate the parents of more than 500 children. So how will these families ever be reunited?
Children are brought here by coyotes and lots of bad people, cartels, and they're brought here, and they used to use them to get into our country. We now have as strong a border as we've ever had. We're over 400 miles of brand new wall. You see the numbers, and we let people in, but they have to come in legally, and they come in through merit.
But how will you reunite these kids with their families,
let me just tell you,
Mr. President?
they built cages. You know, they used to say, I built the cages, and then they had a picture in a certain newspaper, and it was a picture of these horrible cages, and they said, look at these cages. President Trump built them, and then it was determined they were built in 2014. That was him.
Do you have a plan to reunite the kids?
Yes, we're working on it we're trying very hard. But a lot of these kids come out without the parents. They come over through cartels and through coyotes and through gangs.
Now, in all fairness, we're going to let Joe Biden respond to President Trump. But at this point in time, I'd like to go back to July 25th, 2019, as Newhouse questions Border Patrol Chief on child trafficking so we can hear what the facts are.
I just want to confirm you're aware of this as going on at the border.
Yes, sir. That is. Border Patrol alone has identified over 5,600 fraudulent families. Homeland Security Investigations has also come in and, based on cases that we refer now in many locations, are investigating fraudulent families. There have been cases where children have been, tragically recycled. Smugglers are taking advantage of these children. They are taking advantage of the families that are coming across, and they are making money off of these people and putting their lives at risk.
Madam Chair, I'd ask unanimous consent to enter into the record. I have a story from the Washington Examiner that's titled, DNA Tests Reveal 30% of suspected fraudulent migrant families were unrelated. Just like to have that entered into the record. Thank you. In the article that I have here in front of me, it states that in a pilot program, approximately 30% of rapid DNA tests of immigrant adults who were suspected of arriving at the southern border with children who weren't theirs revealed the adults were not related to the children. So Chief Provost, in your view, and I ask you for a little criticism or constructive criticism, do you believe it's the failure of Congress to reform the Flores decision that enables coyotes and smugglers to traffic children for the purpose of gaining illegal entry into the U.S.?
I certainly believe that we have to address the Flores settlement agreement. That is probably the main factor that is leading to families being put at risk and children being put at risk. The smugglers make money off of them. They entice them to come. They do tell them that if you come with a child that you will be released into the country, which is currently the case because we cannot hold any families longer than 20 days due to all children not being able to be held that long. We need to be able to hold families together, not in a Border Patrol facility, let me be very clear, in a family residential center throughout an expedited immigration process if we are truly going to address this issue and not just put a Band-Aid on it. That is a huge pull factor. And these families aren't aware of the dangers of crossing our border that they're going to be put into. They aren't aware of how the smugglers are going to treat them. So the smugglers are utilizing that to their benefit to make money and to treat these individuals as a commodity, basically.
Yeah.
But a lot of these kids come out without the parents. They come over through cartels and through coyotes and through gangs.
Vice President Biden, let me bring you into this conversation. Quick response and then another question to you.
These 500-plus kids came with parents. They separated them at the border to make it a disincentive to come to begin with. Real tough. We're really strong. And guess what? They cannot, it's not coyotes didn't bring them over. Their parents were with them. They got separated from their parents. And it makes us a laughing stock and violates every notion of who we are as a nation.
Let me ask you a follow-up
Kristen,
question.
they did it. We changed the policy.
Your response
they
to that?
They did it. We changed.
did not
They built the
separate
cages.
the
Who built the cages, Joe?
Let's talk about what
Who
we're
built the
talking about.
cages,
Let's
Joe?
talk about what we're talking about. What happened? Parents were ripped, their kids were ripped from their arms and separated. And now they cannot find over 500 sets of those parents, and those kids are alone. Nowhere to go. Nowhere to go. It's criminal. It's criminal.
Let me ask
Kristen,
you
I will
about
say this.
immigration.
They went
10
down. We
seconds, and then
brought
I need to ask
reporters,
you.
everything. They are so well taken care of. They're in facilities that were so clean.
But some
and
of
have
them
gotten
haven't been
such
reunited
But
with
just
their
ask
families.
one question. Who built the cages? I'd love you to ask him that. Who built the cages?
Let me ask about your immigration policy, Mr. Vice President. The Obama administration did fail to deliver immigration reform, which had been a key promise during the administration. It also presided over record deportations as well as family detentions at the border before changing course. So why should voters trust you with an immigration overhaul now?
Because it made a mistake. It took too long to get it right. It took too long to get it right. I'll be president of the United States, not vice president of the United States. And the fact is, I've made it very clear. within 100 days, I'm going to send to the United States Congress a pathway to citizenship for over 11 million undocumented people. And all of those so-called dreamers, those DACA kids, they're going to be immediately certified again to be able to stay in this country and put on a path to citizenship. The idea that they are being sent home by this guy, and they want to do that, is they've gone to a country they've never seen before. I can imagine you're 5 years old, your parents are taking you across the Rio Grande River, and it's illegal. And you say, oh, no, Mom, leave me here. I'm not going to go with you. They've been here. Many of them are model citizens. Over 20,000 of them are first responders out there taking care of people during this crisis. We owe them. We owe them.
President
Kristen,
Trump,
he
your
had
reaction.
8 years to do what he said he was going to do. And I've
We
changed
did.
without having a specific. We got rid of catch and release. We got rid of a lot of horrible things that they put in and that they lived with. But he had 8 years he was vice president. He did nothing except build cages to keep children in.
Vice President
Wrong.
Biden, your response.
The catch and release, you know what he's talking about there? If, in fact, you had a family came across and they were arrested, they, in fact, were given a date to show up for their hearing. They were released. And guess what? They showed up for a hearing. And this is the first president in the history of the United States of America that anybody seeking asylum has to do it in another country. That's never happened before in America. That's never happened before in America. You come to the United States and you make your case that I seek asylum based on the following premise, why I deserve it under American law. They're sitting in squalor on the other side of the river.
President Trump, your response,
So
30
important.
seconds, and then we'll move
It just shows that he has no understanding of immigration or the laws. Catch and release is a disaster. A murderer would come in, a rapist would come in, a very bad person would come in. We would take their name. We have to release them into our country. And then you say they come back. Less than 1% of the people come back. We have to send ICE out and Border Patrol out to find them. We would say, come back in 2 years, 3 years. We're going to give you a court case. You need Perry Mason. We're going to give you a court case. When you say they come back, they don't come back, Joe. They never come back. Only the really, I hate to say this, but those with the lowest IQ, they might come back.
Okay,
But they're
President
very,
Trump, let's
very
give
few.
Vice President Biden a chance to respond, and then we're going to move on to the
You
next
don't know
section.
the law, Joe.
Vice President Biden, your response.
Know the law, what he's telling you is simply not true.
Well, check it out. They don't come back.
Check it out.
All right, let's move on
But we don't have to
the
worry
next
about it because they
section.
terminated it, so we don't have to worry about it
Let's
anymore.
move on to the next
And you have
section.
500.
As to asylum claims, we have 900,000 backlog. Is that correct?
It's 900,000 cases in immigration courts, over 350,000 asylum cases.
Okay,
specifically.
350,000, 900,000 backlog, 350,000 are asylum claims.
Correct.
Tell the country what happens when you get here from Central America and you claim asylum. Very briefly, what happens?
So as a family unit, as you've already noted, Mr. Chairman, you're going to be released because you can't be held more than 20 days. And we have to have due process and a fair hearing. For single adults, you'll be held pending determination of whether you have a fear of return. If you meet that bar, and 87% do meet the initial bar of credible fear from Central America, you'll either be held or bonded out by an immigration judge pending a final adjudication. If you're a child, you'll be transferred to HHS, and you'll go through a process to be placed with a sponsor in the United States.
So if you're a asylum seeker from Central America and you claim asylum in the United States, you're not going to get sent back to Central America anytime soon. Is that correct?
Unless you're a single adult, it is very unlikely that you'll be repatriated.
What percentage of the people show up for the asylum hearing?
So it depends on the demographic, the court, but we do see too many cases where people are not showing up. We did an expedited pilot with family units this year with ICE and the immigration courts. Out of those 7,000 cases, 90 received final orders of removal in absentia, 90%.
90% did not show up?
Correct.
Now, in closing, if you learned something or enjoyed this video, please like and share and subscribe to my channel for more up-and-coming videos as I bring truthful, factual information right to you. And as we can see here, we got to look at the number of Border Patrol agents with a budget of $16.3 billion, more than 60,000 personnel, 85% or which are Border Patrol agents, that's over 3 times the amount, basically, yeah, 3 times the amount of people that process the paperwork to get these individuals to come legally to the country. So we got 3 times more people trying to keep people out than we got people trying to bring people in legally. I think if we balance that out, we'll do a lot better with our immigration policies. And understand that the majority of the people that are processed through our immigration policies come throughout the world, from Italy, Germany, and many different other countries, not just South America. But we really need to increase the legalization of individuals coming to our country from the South American region. Till my next video, this is John saying peace and God bless you.